G'day, race fans! Buckle up as we relive the thrilling 2021 Formula One season, a year that witnessed one of the fiercest rivalries in motorsport history. In one corner, we had the reigning world champion Lewis Hamilton, a master of precision and strategy behind the wheel of his Mercedes. Hamilton, already a seven-time world champion, was aiming to make history by surpassing Michael Schumacher's record and claiming his 8th title. On the other side of the garage, a young and hungry Max Verstappen, driving for Red Bull Racing, was ready to challenge the established order. Verstappen, known for his aggressive driving style and unwavering determination, was eager to prove he had what it took to dethrone the king. The 2021 season marked the first time in the turbo-hybrid era that Mercedes faced a genuine threat to their dominance. Red Bull Racing, powered by Honda engines, had produced a car that could go wheel-to-wheel with the mighty Mercedes. The stage was set for an epic showdown, a clash of titans that would keep fans on the edge of their seats from the first race to the last. The 2021 season kicked off in Bahrain, and right from the get-go it was clear that this was going to be a battle for the ages. Hamilton and Verstappen traded fastest laps in practice, setting the tone for a season-long duel. When the lights went out, the tension was palpable. Verstappen, starting from pole position, had a blistering start, but Hamilton's experience and racecraft saw him challenge for the lead throughout the race. The Bahrain Grand Prix ended with a thrilling finish, Hamilton narrowly edging out Verstappen. This first race set the stage for what was to come, a season of intense wheel-to-wheel racing, strategic battles, and no shortage of controversy. The rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen was not just about speed and skill, it was about two different approaches to racing, two different personalities, and two teams with everything to prove. As the season progressed, the tension between the two drivers intensified. Every overtake was a statement, every corner a battleground. The crowds were captivated by their fierce but respectful competition, and the world of Formula One was gripped by Verstappen-Hamilton fever. The 2021 championship wasn't just about winning races, it was about writing motorsport history. For Lewis Hamilton, it was a chance to stand alone as the most successful driver of all time, a feat that would cement his legacy. For Max Verstappen, it was an opportunity to end Mercedes' dominance and usher in a new era in Formula One. The weight of history rested heavily on both drivers. Every race weekend brought immense pressure, scrutiny, and expectation. The media frenzy was relentless, with every move analyzed and debated. The 2021 season was a roller coaster ride, with the championship lead changing hands multiple times. The battle wasn't just about speed, it was about who could hold their nerve under pressure. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, and the world watched to see who would emerge victorious. Following the dramatic opening race in Bahrain, the F1 circus headed to Imola for the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. Verstappen put in a dominant performance, winning the race and claiming the lead in the championship standings. Hamilton finished second, reminding everyone why he was a seven-time world champion. The battle lines were drawn, and it was clear this was going to be a season of intense competition. The Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola was a microcosm of the entire season, a race that showcased both the brilliance and the brutality of the Verstappen-Hamilton rivalry. The race started in dramatic fashion, with Hamilton taking the lead from Verstappen at the first corner. However, a rare mistake from the seven-time world champion saw him slide off the track and drop down the order. Verstappen, sensing an opportunity, seized the initiative and built up a commanding lead. Hamilton, however, was not about to give up. He fought his way back through the field, setting fastest laps and showing incredible determination. The race reached a dramatic climax when Hamilton, on fresher tyres, closed in on Verstappen. The two drivers went wheel-to-wheel, pushing each other to the absolute limit. Verstappen held on to take the checkered flag, but the race will be remembered for the intensity of their battle and the glimpse it provided of the no-holds-barred racing that would characterize the rest of the season. Imola was a statement from Verstappen, a sign that he was not afraid to race Hamilton hard, and that he was willing to do whatever it took to win the championship. As the European leg of the season began, Verstappen and Red Bull Racing had the upper hand. Dominant victories in Austria and France extended Verstappen's lead. His aggressive driving style was now a potent weapon. He pushed the limits, taking risks. Hamilton showed signs of frustration. Mercedes was no longer the fastest car. Hamilton had to dig deep to stay in touch. The pressure was mounting on the champion. The momentum had shifted to Verstappen. His confidence was sky high. Red Bull Racing was now the team to beat. Just when it seemed like Verstappen and Red Bull Racing were unstoppable, Mercedes and Hamilton roared back into contention with a dominant display at the British Grand Prix at Silverstone. Hamilton, racing on home soil, was fired up for victory, and he delivered in style. He outqualified Verstappen, controlled the race from start to finish, and reminded everyone why he was considered one of the greatest drivers of all time. The victory at Silverstone was a much-needed boost for Mercedes, proving that they were not out of the championship fight just yet. It also reignited the rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen, setting the stage for a thrilling second half of the season. The battle between the two titans of Formula One was far from over, and it was clear that the championship would go down to the wire. The momentum had swung back in favor of Mercedes, but Verstappen and Red Bull Racing were not about to back down. The stage was set for a dramatic showdown, and the world of Formula One held its breath in anticipation. The 2021 Formula One season was a roller-coaster ride, and the mid-season period was no exception. After Hamilton's dominant victory at Silverstone, the championship battle intensified, with both Verstappen and Hamilton trading blows. The Hungarian Grand Prix, held at the tight-and-twisty Hungaroring, proved to be a pivotal moment in the season. Verstappen, starting from pole position, was caught up in a first-lap incident that saw him drop down the order. Hamilton, meanwhile, capitalized on the chaos and found himself in the lead. However, a strategic error from Mercedes saw Hamilton pit for fresh tyres late in the race, leaving him vulnerable to Verstappen's attack. Verstappen, on older tyres, closed in on Hamilton and looked set to take the victory. However, Hamilton defended his position aggressively, forcing Verstappen wide and securing a narrow victory. The Hungarian Grand Prix was a race of missed opportunities for Verstappen, but it also showcased his resilience and determination. The Hungarian Grand Prix was not without its controversy. The first lap incident, which involved several cars, was triggered by a misjudgment from Valtteri Bottas, Hamilton's Mercedes teammate. Bottas, starting poorly, misjudged his braking point and collided with Lando Norris's McLaren, causing a chain reaction that took out several cars, including Verstappen's Red Bull. The incident sparked debate about driving standards and the role of team orders in Formula One. Some argued that Bottas should have been more cautious, while others defended his actions, arguing that it was a racing incident. The stewards, after reviewing the incident, deemed it a racing incident and took no further action. However, the controversy surrounding the incident lingered, adding another layer of tension to the already heated rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen. The Hungarian Grand Prix was a stark reminder that even the smallest of errors could have significant consequences in the high-stakes world of Formula One. Despite the disappointment of the Hungarian Grand Prix, Verstappen showed remarkable resilience, bouncing back in style at the following race in Belgium. The Belgian Grand Prix, held at the iconic Spa-Francorchamps circuit, was a rain-affected race, with challenging conditions testing the skills of even the most experienced drivers. Verstappen, starting from pole position, controlled the race from start to finish, delivering a masterclass in wet-weather driving. Hamilton, struggling to match Verstappen's pace, finished a distant third, losing valuable points in the championship battle. Verstappen's victory at Spa was a timely reminder of his raw talent and his ability to perform under pressure. It also showcased Red Bull Racing's ability to adapt to changing conditions and deliver a car that was competitive in all circumstances. The championship battle was far from over, and Verstappen was determined to carry his momentum into the final races of the season. Section 4. The plot thickens. Mind games and strategic masterstrokes. As the 2021 Formula One season entered its final stages, the rivalry between Hamilton and Verstappen reached fever pitch. The two drivers were neck and neck in the championship standings, and every race, every corner, every overtaking maneuver was crucial. The pressure was immense, and both drivers, as well as their teams, resorted to mind games and strategic masterstrokes in a bid to gain an advantage. Mercedes, sensing that Red Bull Racing had the faster car, adopted a more aggressive approach to strategy, using pit stops and tyre choices to try and outmaneuver their rivals. Red Bull Racing, meanwhile, focused on maximizing Verstappen's performance, giving him the freedom to push the limits of the car and attack at every opportunity. The mind games were equally intense. Hamilton, drawing on his years of experience, tried to unsettle Verstappen with comments in the media and subtle tactics on the track. Verstappen, never one to back down, responded in kind, refusing to be intimidated by Hamilton's reputation or his team's history of success. Section 5. On the edge of glory, heading into the final act. As the checkered flag fell in Belgium, the 2021 Formula One season was on a knife edge. Verstappen, with his victory at Spa, had regained the championship lead, but Hamilton was hot on his heels, just 3 points adrift. The next race, the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, promised to be another thrilling chapter in this epic rivalry. Zandvoort, a classic circuit returning to the Formula One calendar after a long absence, was expected to favour Verstappen and Red Bull Racing. The Dutch fans, eager to see their home hero triumph, created an electric atmosphere, adding to the pressure and the drama of the occasion. The stage was set for a final act worthy of the season's dramatic narrative. Verstappen and Hamilton, two titans of motorsport, were ready to lay it all on the line, to push each other to the limit in pursuit of the ultimate prize, the Formula One World Championship. The final races of the 2021 season promised to be unforgettable. Section 1. British Battleground Silverstone sets the stage. The 2021 British Grand Prix at Silverstone was always going to be a tense affair, but no one could have predicted the drama that would unfold. The home crowd was in full voice, eager to see their hero, Lewis Hamilton, take the fight to Max Verstappen. The atmosphere was electric, the tension palpable as the cars lined up on the grid. Hamilton, trailing Verstappen in the championship standings, needed a strong result to close the gap. Verstappen, on the other hand, was determined to extend his lead and put his stamp on the championship battle. Silverstone, with its high-speed corners and unpredictable weather, is a true driver's circuit, a track that rewards bravery and punishes mistakes. The stage was set for a classic encounter, a battle of wills between two of the greatest drivers of their generation. The eyes of the motorsport world were on Silverstone, and the tension was as thick as the British summer air. The British Grand Prix was more than just another race. It was a pivotal moment in the 2021 Formula One season, a battleground where the championship could be won or lost. And as Section 2 lights out, controversy ignited. The opening lap incident. As the lights went out and the roar of the engines echoed around Silverstone, the battle between Verstappen and Hamilton commenced immediately. Verstappen, starting from pole position, got away cleanly, but Hamilton, alongside him on the front row, was right on his tail. The two drivers, locked in their own personal duel, raced into the first corner side by side, their cars inches apart. The tension was palpable, the crowd on the edge of their seats as the two rivals went wheel to wheel. Then, in a heart-stopping moment, the unthinkable happened. As they exited the high-speed Copse corner, Hamilton's front left tyre made contact with Verstappen's rear right tyre, sending the Red Bull car spinning off the track and into the barrier at high speed. The impact was huge, Verstappen's car coming to a sudden and violent stop. The crowd gasped, the commentators fell silent, and a collective sense of shock descended upon Silverstone. Verstappen, thankfully conscious, climbed out of his wrecked car, visibly shaken but otherwise unharmed. Section 3, Hamilton's Charger Champions Recovery Drive. The race was immediately red-flagged as the marshals tended to Verstappen and removed his stricken car from the track. The incident divided opinion, with some blaming Hamilton for the collision and others arguing that it was a racing incident. The stewards, after reviewing the footage, deemed Hamilton to be predominantly at fault and handed him a 10-second time penalty. The penalty, while significant, did not deter Hamilton. He knew that he had a race to win, not just for the championship points, but also to redeem himself after the controversial incident with Verstappen. When the race resumed, Hamilton, now in second place behind Charles Leclerc's Ferrari, drove with a steely determination. He carved his way through the field, setting fastest laps and showing all his experience and racecraft. The crowd, initially subdued after the Verstappen incident, roared their approval as Hamilton closed in on Leclerc. Section 4. The collision, a championship-defining moment. With just a handful of laps remaining, Hamilton was right on Leclerc's tail, the gap between them shrinking with every corner. The tension was almost unbearable as Hamilton lined up Leclerc for the overtake. He feinted left, then dived to the right, his Mercedes squeezing past Leclerc's Ferrari on the inside line. The crowd erupted, their cheers deafening as Hamilton retook the lead. He held his nerve, crossing the finish line to take a dramatic and emotional victory at his home Grand Prix. The win, however, was overshadowed by the events of the first lap. The collision between Hamilton and Verstappen was a championship-defining moment, a flashpoint in their intense rivalry. It was a stark reminder of the fine margins in Formula One, where a split-second decision can have huge consequences. The aftermath of the British Grand Prix was dominated by the fallout from the Hamilton-Verstappen collision. Red Bull Racing, furious about the incident and the penalty handed to Hamilton, launched a scathing attack on the Mercedes driver, accusing him of dangerous driving and unsportsmanlike conduct. Mercedes, while relieved that Verstappen was unharmed, defended their driver, arguing that it was a racing incident. The war of words between the two teams raged on, adding fuel to the already fiery rivalry between their drivers. The FIA, motorsport's governing body, reviewed the incident and upheld the stewards' decision, but the controversy refused to die down. The Silverstone collision cast a long shadow over the rest of the 2021 Formula One season. It heightened the tension between Hamilton and Verstappen, turning their rivalry into something more bitter and personal. The championship battle, already intense, became even more fraught, with every race, every overtake, every point scrutinized and analyzed for any hint of gamesmanship or retribution. The Formula One circus rolled into Monza, the temple of speed, with the echoes of Silverstone still ringing in their ears. The Italian Grand Prix, steeped in history and passion, was always going to be a pressure cooker, but the simmering tension between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton turned the heat up to boiling point. The tifosi, fervent supporters of Ferrari, created an atmosphere unlike any other, their cheers echoing around the historic circuit, their expectations high as they willed on the Scuderia to a long-awaited home victory. However, it was the ongoing duel between Verstappen and Hamilton that held the world's attention. The championship battle was finely balanced. Every point crucial, every race a potential turning point. Monza, with its long straights and high-speed corners, promised to be a high-stakes game of chess, a test of nerve and strategy. The pressure was on, and the stage was set for another dramatic chapter in this epic rivalry. The air crackled with anticipation as the cars lined up on the grid, the roar of the crowd reaching a crescendo as the lights went out, signalling the start of the Italian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen, brimming with confidence after his recent victory in the Netherlands, secured pole position for the Italian Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton, eager to strike back and reclaim the championship lead, lined up alongside him on the front row. The tension was palpable as the lights went out and the cars roared off the line. Verstappen, as he had done so often that season, got away cleanly, maintaining his lead into the first chicane. Hamilton, however, was right on his tail. The two championship protagonists once again locked in their own private battle. As they navigated the tight first chicane, their cars came perilously close, wheels almost touching. Hamilton, sensing an opportunity, attempted to squeeze past Verstappen on the inside. But the Dutchman held his line, forcing Hamilton to back out to avoid a collision. It was a tense start to the race, a sign of things to come as the two rivals jostled for position, their rivalry threatening to boil over at any moment. Section 3: Pit Lane Drama, Strategic Blunders and Opportunity Knocks. The early stages of the Italian Grand Prix were characterized by a tense strategic battle between Red Bull Racing and Mercedes. Both teams opted for an early pit stop, hoping to gain an advantage by undercutting their rivals. However, a slow pit stop for Verstappen, due to a sticky wheel nut, handed the initiative to Hamilton. The Mercedes driver emerged from the pits just ahead of Verstappen. The two rivals now separated by a matter of seconds. The tension in the pit lane was palpable, the mechanics working feverishly under immense pressure. A mistake, however small, could prove costly, and both teams knew it. Hamilton's joy at inheriting the lead was short-lived. A strategic error from Mercedes saw them pit Hamilton for a second time, a decision that would come back to haunt them. Verstappen, now back in the lead, inherited a significant advantage, his team's pit stop blunder providing him with an unexpected opportunity to extend his championship lead. Section 4: Touching Wheels, Raising Eyebrows, the second chicane incident. As the race entered its closing stages, the tension between Verstappen and Hamilton reached fever pitch. Hamilton, on fresher tyres, closed in on Verstappen, the gap between them shrinking with every lap. The stage was set for a dramatic climax, and the crowd, sensing a grandstand finish, roared their approval. As the two drivers approached the second chicane side by side, their cars once again came together in a shower of sparks. Hamilton, attempting to pass on the inside, found himself squeezed onto the curb, his Mercedes making contact with Verstappen's Red Bull. The Dutchman's car was launched into the air, landing precariously on top of Hamilton's Mercedes. Both drivers were fortunate to escape unharmed, but the incident, a carbon copy of their clash at Silverstone, sparked outrage from both teams and reignited the debate about driving standards and the limits of acceptable aggression. Section 5: The Championship Picture. Monza's impact and the road ahead. The Italian Grand Prix ended in dramatic fashion, with both Verstappen and Hamilton out of the race following their collision. The incident, while spectacular, left a bitter taste in the mouths of many, overshadowing what had been a thrilling race up until that point. The stewards, after reviewing the incident, deemed Verstappen to be predominantly at fault, handing him a 3-place grid penalty for the next race. The penalty, while significant, did little to dampen the controversy surrounding the incident. The championship battle, already fiercely contested, took on an even more acrimonious tone, with both drivers and teams accusing each other of dangerous driving and unsportsmanlike conduct. The Monza incident cast a long shadow over the remaining races of the 2021 season, turning the championship fight into a no-holds-barred battle for supremacy. The gloves were off, and the world watched with bated breath to see who would emerge victorious from this epic duel. The Formula One circus headed to Brazil, the passionate home of Ayrton Senna, with the championship battle reaching fever pitch. Interlagos, a circuit steeped in history and renowned for its unpredictable weather and challenging layout, awaited Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. The Brazilian Grand Prix, always a highlight of the season, promised to be a pivotal moment in their titanic struggle for supremacy. The atmosphere in Sao Paulo was electric, the Brazilian fans, known for their unwavering support and infectious enthusiasm, eager to witness another chapter in this epic rivalry. The air crackled with anticipation, the tension palpable as the teams and drivers prepared for battle. Verstappen, carrying a slender lead in the championship standings, knew that a strong result in Brazil was crucial to maintain his advantage. Hamilton, on the other hand, was determined to close the gap and take the fight to the final race of the season. Interlagos, with its mix of high-speed corners, elevation changes, and unpredictable weather, had all the ingredients for another classic encounter. The Brazilian Grand Prix weekend started in dramatic fashion. Max Verstappen, fastest in qualifying, was stripped of his pole position after the stewards deemed that his rear wing had exceeded the maximum allowable flexibility. The penalty, a 5-place grid drop, was a blow to Red Bull Racing and their championship aspirations. However, Verstappen, never one to back down from a challenge, responded in emphatic fashion. Starting from 6th on the grid, he carved his way through the field with a display of raw pace and aggression. He overtook his rivals with clinical precision, his Red Bull car seemingly on rails as he hunted down the leaders. Hamilton, starting from pole position, had initially built up a comfortable lead, but Verstappen's relentless charge meant that the 7-time world champion could not afford to relax for a moment. The pressure was on, and the Brazilian crowd, sensing a Verstappen victory, roared their approval with every overtaking maneuver. Despite Verstappen's remarkable recovery drive, Lewis Hamilton delivered a masterclass in racecraft to take victory in the Brazilian Grand Prix. The Mercedes driver, starting from the front, controlled the race from start to finish, his experience and tactical nous shining through. He managed his pace, his tyres, and his rivals with consummate ease, never putting a foot wrong. However, Hamilton's victory was not without its controversy. During the race, Verstappen, in a desperate attempt to pass Hamilton, forced the Mercedes driver off the track at turn 4. The incident, captured on camera, sparked outrage from Mercedes, who argued that Verstappen should have been penalised for his aggressive driving. The stewards, however, deemed it a racing incident, much to the frustration of Mercedes and their driver. The decision, while controversial, did little to dampen Hamilton's spirits as he celebrated a hard-fought victory, a victory that kept his championship hopes alive. The Brazilian Grand Prix was a microcosm of the entire 2021 Formula One season. A tense, tactical battle between two drivers operating at the very peak of their powers, their rivalry threatening to boil over at any moment. The race was characterized by wheel-to-wheel racing, daring overtaking maneuvers, and no shortage of controversy. Verstappen, despite the setback of his grid penalty, drove with a point to prove. His aggression levels dialed up to 11. Hamilton, under immense pressure, responded in kind, refusing to back down or be intimidated by his younger rival's aggressive tactics. The two drivers pushed each other to the limit, and on several occasions it seemed inevitable that they would collide. The respect between them, while still evident, was wearing thin, replaced by a steely determination to win at all costs. The Brazilian crowd, lapping up every moment of the drama, were treated to a masterclass in driving on the edge, a demonstration of skill, bravery, and a sheer will to win that defined this epic championship battle. Lewis Hamilton's victory in the Brazilian Grand Prix, coupled with Max Verstappen's second-place finish, set the stage for a nail-biting climax to the 2021 Formula One season. The championship battle, finally poised, would go down to the wire, with the final race in Abu Dhabi set to be a winner-takes-all showdown. The tension, already at fever pitch, was heightened by the controversial incidents that had marred the Brazilian Grand Prix. The steward's decision not to penalise Verstappen for his aggressive driving, while debatable, added another layer of intrigue to the championship battle. Would the stewards continue to adopt a lenient approach to driving standards in Abu Dhabi, or would they clamp down on any hint of foul play? The answer to that question and the outcome of the championship remained tantalisingly out of reach. The Formula One world held its breath, bracing itself for a final act that promised to be as unpredictable as it was unforgettable. The Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the final race of the 2021 Formula One season, dawned under a sky painted with hues of expectation and trepidation. The Yas Marina circuit, shimmering under the desert sun, was about to witness a showdown for the ages, a battle royale between two titans of motorsport, Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. The championship, precariously balanced, hung in the balance, the destiny of the coveted title resting on the outcome of this one race. The atmosphere crackled with a palpable tension, the air thick with the scent of anticipation and exhaust fumes. The grandstands, packed with fans from all corners of the globe, were a sea of colour and excitement, a testament to the global appeal of Formula One and the captivating rivalry that had gripped the sport. Verstappen, carrying a slender points advantage, needed only to finish ahead of Hamilton to secure his maiden championship title. Hamilton, the seasoned campaigner, knew that only a victory would suffice, his quest for a record-breaking 8th championship title hinging on a flawless performance. Action 2, a dominant start. Verstappen seizes the initiative. As the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the circuit, the tension reached fever pitch. The roar of the crowd, a deafening crescendo of anticipation, reverberated around the Yas Marina circuit as the lights went out, signaling the start of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Verstappen, starting from pole position, got away cleanly, his Red Bull car surging forward like a predator unleashed. Hamilton, starting alongside him on the front row, slotted into second place, but it was clear from the outset that the Mercedes driver had his work cut out for him. Verstappen, driving with the confidence of a man on a mission, set about building a lead, his Red Bull car seemingly glued to the tarmac as he navigated the challenging Yas Marina circuit with precision and speed. Hamilton, unable to match Verstappen's blistering pace, found himself trailing by a steadily increasing margin, his hopes of a record-breaking 8th championship title fading with each passing lap. Section 3, undercut and overtake. Hamilton turns the tables. As the race progressed, the strategic battle between Red Bull Racing and Mercedes intensified. Both teams, acutely aware that even the smallest of margins could prove decisive, played their cards close to their chests, each pit stop, each tyre change, a calculated gamble. Mercedes, sensing that Verstappen's early pace was unsustainable, opted for an aggressive undercut strategy, bringing Hamilton in for an early pit stop. The strategy paid dividends. Hamilton, on fresher tyres, emerged from the pits just ahead of Verstappen, who had pitted a lap later. The momentum of the race had shifted, and Hamilton, sensing an opportunity, seized the initiative, pushing his Mercedes to the limit as he sought to build an unassailable lead. Verstappen, his early advantage erased, found himself on the back foot, his Red Bull car struggling to match the pace of Hamilton's Mercedes on the fresher tyres. Section 4, safety car, showdown, fate intervenes, controversy erupts. With just a handful of laps remaining, the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix took a dramatic turn. Nicholas Latifi crashed, bringing out the safety car. The incident turned the championship on its head, igniting controversy. Verstappen, on fresh tyres, closed up behind Hamilton. The stage was set for a one-lap shootout. Controversy erupted when only lapped cars between Hamilton and Verstappen were allowed to overtake. Mercedes argued the rules were not followed correctly. The race resumed with Verstappen right behind Hamilton. The tension reached unbearable levels as the safety car peeled into the pits. Verstappen and Hamilton unleashed for one final lap to decide the 2021 championship. Verstappen attacked Hamilton, his Red Bull lunging for the lead. Hamilton fought valiantly, but Verstappen's pace was irresistible. Verstappen crossed the finish line first, securing his maiden world championship. Red Bull celebrated while Mercedes was engulfed in disbelief and despair. Hamilton could only watch as Verstappen celebrated his triumph. The 2021 Abu Dhabi Grand Prix delivered a heart-stopping climax to the season. The dust has settled on the 2021 Formula One season. The echoes of roaring engines and cheering crowds replaced by the quiet hum of reflection. As we look back on this extraordinary year, one dominated by the titanic clash between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, it's clear that we witnessed something truly special, a season for the ages. From the nail-biting first race in Bahrain to the controversial climax in Abu Dhabi, the 2021 season kept us on the edge of our seats, our emotions ebbing and flowing with every corner, every overtake, every dramatic twist of fate. We were treated to a masterclass of driving, a display of skill, bravery and determination that pushed both drivers to their absolute limits. Hamilton, the seasoned campaigner chasing an unprecedented eighth world title, reminded us why he's considered one of the greatest drivers of all time. Verstappen, the young pretender, hungry for his first championship, demonstrated a raw talent and relentless ambition that heralded the arrival of a new force in Formula One. The 2021 season was more than just a championship battle. It was a clash of personalities, of driving styles, of team philosophies. It was a season that had it all: triumph and despair, controversy and sportsmanship, moments of brilliance and flashes of human error. The dust has settled on the 2021 Formula One season. The echoes of roaring engines and cheering crowds replaced by the quiet hum of reflection. As we look back on this extraordinary year, one dominated by the titanic clash between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, it's clear that we witnessed something truly special, a season for the ages. From the nail-biting first race in Bahrain to the controversial climax in Abu Dhabi, the 2021 season kept us on the edge of our seats, our emotions ebbing and flowing with every corner, every overtake, every dramatic twist of fate. We were treated to a masterclass of driving, a display of skill, bravery and determination that pushed both drivers to their absolute limits. Hamilton, the seasoned campaigner chasing an unprecedented eighth world title, reminded us why he's considered one of the greatest drivers of all time. Verstappen, the young pretender, hungry for his first championship, demonstrated a raw talent and relentless ambition that heralded the arrival of a new force in Formula One. The 2021 season was more than just a championship battle. It was a clash of personalities, of driving styles, of team philosophies. It was a season that had it all: triumph and despair, controversy and sportsmanship, moments of brilliance and flashes of human error. The dust has settled on the 2021 Formula One season. The echoes of roaring engines and cheering crowds replaced by the quiet hum of reflection. As we look back on this extraordinary year, one dominated by the titanic clash between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, it's clear that we witnessed something truly special, a season for the ages. From the nail-biting first race in Bahrain to the controversial climax in Abu Dhabi, the 2021 season kept us on the edge of our seats, our emotions ebbing and flowing with every corner, every overtake, every dramatic twist of fate. We were treated to a masterclass of driving, a display of skill, bravery and determination that pushed both drivers to their absolute limits. Hamilton, the seasoned campaigner chasing an unprecedented eighth world title, reminded us why he's considered one of the greatest drivers of all time. Verstappen, the young pretender, hungry for his first championship, demonstrated a raw talent and relentless ambition that heralded the arrival of a new force in Formula One. The 2021 season was more than just a championship battle. It was a clash of personalities, of driving styles, of team philosophies. It was a season that had it all: triumph and despair, controversy and sportsmanship, moments of brilliance and flashes of human error. The dust has settled on the 2021 Formula One season. The echoes of roaring engines and cheering crowds replaced by the quiet hum of reflection. As we look back on this extraordinary year, the 2021 Formula One season will forever be defined by the intense rivalry between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen. It was a clash of generations, a changing of the guard, a battle between two drivers at the pinnacle of their powers, each determined to etch their name in motorsport history. Their rivalry, while fiercely contested on the track, was also a testament to the respect they held for each other's abilities. They raced hard but fair, pushing each other to the limit but rarely exceeding the boundaries of sportsmanship. Theirs was a rivalry for the modern era, one played out under the intense scrutiny of social media and 24/7 news coverage. Their every move analyzed, dissected and debated by fans and pundits alike. The Verstappen-Hamilton rivalry transcended the sport itself, capturing the imagination of a global audience and bringing Formula One to a new generation of fans. Their contrasting personalities and driving styles, Hamilton's smooth precision versus Verstappen's raw aggression, only added to the intrigue, making for a compelling spectacle that kept us glued to our screens. As the curtain falls on the 2021 Formula One season, we are left with a sense of anticipation for what the future holds. The Verstappen-Hamilton rivalry has ignited a passion that will resonate for years. Verstappen, now a world champion, will be the target for new challenges. Hamilton, undiminished, will be back to reclaim his crown. The 2021 season marked the beginning of a new era. The future of Formula One is bright, filled with possibilities. The engines are silent for now, but the countdown to the next chapter has already begun.